Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Kuznez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This episode is all about Fruitbus, a cute culinary adventure set in an open world where taste is everything. Upgrade your trusty truck and visit a whole world of new destinations together. Discover fresh fruits and vegetables on each island of the Gustum archipelago, learn their customs, and cook meals that will make someone's day. This game should be absolutely wonderful. This should be one of the most cozy, delightful little games where you've got your fruit bus, your little food truck that you're driving around these small islands, cooking up sandwiches, soups, salads, and smoothies for the inhabitants of this small little world. Very colorful aesthetic. I don't know where I was going there. But this game, more than any game I've played in recent memory, gets in its own way so often that it's incredibly frustrating. I played it for maybe like 30 hours or something. I played the heck out of this game, have all but two achievements, one for completing 250 orders, and then the other for naming 10 custom dishes, which is currently broken on Xbox because when you try to name a dish, it just kind of locks up. There's no on-screen keyboard, and I don't know if you plugged in an actual keyboard, you could just type without an on-screen keyboard and would work that way. But I played a lot of this. A decent amount of it was spent trying to organize my truck space in such a way that I could have every ingredient possible stored in my truck while having room for an oven, a blender, some table space, so on and so forth. But before I get to the game and the countless frustrations I had playing it, let's get to the setup. So you are a young, I don't know what kind of animal you are. Maybe a bear, I think. I think you're bears. Because your grandma was the original owner of this fruit bus, and she would prepare food for people on the various islands, and they all loved your grandmother. Sadly, she has recently passed away, and what you're doing is trying to get people to attend her farewell feast. How you do this is by completing certain objectives for these people. There are certain important people that are required for the game to finish, but then there are plenty of people you'll meet along the way who aren't a requirement to finish, quote unquote, finish the game, but are ones you can also get their attendance as well. There are maybe 8 RSVPs, the ones that you have to, and then an additional 15 or so that are not an obligation. So that is the basic setup, the basic premise for the game. You take over your grandmother's food truck and you have to go around getting people to attend her farewell feast. And the tasks you're asked to do are things like finding band members for the town because they want to hold the festival. So then you go around and you find the various band members. They might require a certain meal. They're like, oh, I just don't have the courage to perform anymore. I need your grandmother's classic courage. The smoothie that brought me courage, that when I was in the band before, my one friend accidentally mixed these ingredients together, but it filled them with courage. So can you get that for me? And then you have to go and find those ingredients in the environment. Each of the individual islands, there are 3 islands. The first 2 are pretty samey. The first island's its main exclusive ingredient is probably the hot pepper. I don't know if it's chili pepper that you find at the volcano. And then Potatoes are unique to the second island. Each of the islands has its own set of unique fruit and vegetables, but all of them have apples because apples, they're just everywhere. The third island is an icy island with a very small collection of ingredients. But the game itself is just incredibly frustrating in practice. First and foremost, playing on Xbox Series X, it does not run super well. It features a lot of slowdown. A lot of slowdown. It was rough going throughout the entire experience. But more so than that, it's just very, very finicky. And also, there are a whole bunch of design choices that leave me wondering. This is going to be a very spastic, sporadic type show because I don't know of a through line to go on this journey with you through all the things that annoy the shit out of me. So I'm just going to be going all over the place. The first thing that comes to mind in terms of I guess I should talk about the finicky nature before I get to issues with design. So you have your basic functions of you move around, yes, you can jump, and then you can grab things with your left hand or your right hand. This action of grabbing things is the same for using things, and there are times where I'm trying to grab this item and it does something else instead. Or I want to grab this bowl, but instead, because I have the hammer in my hand, and I'm just trying to grab the bowl, but it took that input as a whole, and instead it removed the table from under me. When I'm trying to paint something, I want to pick up a paint can, and it counts that as both picking it up and using the paint can. So every time I would have a paint can on the floor of my food truck, it would paint the floor that color. I'm like, can you just let me pick up the paint can without painting the floor? Then I have to get the paint remover back. It is just incredibly frustrating. I don't need to talk about the finicky nature too much because it just, think of stuff like that where you have a lot of different types of inputs tied to the same buttons. And with that, there's going to be a lot of stuff where you are trying to do one thing and another thing happens. Trying to remove the hammer specifically from the tool rack, you have to hold it. You have to grab it and hold it and then look away from the tool rack. Otherwise, if you grab the hammer and you're still looking at it, you let go, and the hammer will just magically attach back to it like it was magnetized or something. That's annoying. And there are so many little things like that that just made the entire experience frustrating from a playability standpoint, where I would just he's like, oh, I just want to do this one thing. Why are you doing this to me? But in terms of the design of the game, one, there is no way to get rid of trash. So if you don't want an item anymore, you can't recycle it. You can't take it back to a store and sell it. When a character gives you a new thing, I got this wooden truck I didn't want. Eventually, you get a device you can put in your truck that allows you to store stuff like that, decorative items, paint cans, so on and so forth. But if you find rotten food, if you let food sit on the floor and rot, because if food is in a basket or a box, it's fine. But if it's on the floor, it starts to rot. There's no real differentiation because the baskets, the boxes they're not refrigerated or anything. So there's really no difference. But if food rots, you can't do anything with it. There's one open dumpster on one of the islands near, I think, a gas station or a store. But on other islands, there's dumpsters next to stores, but they're closed. You can't open them. If you put stuff in them, they're not going to disappear. They're just going to stockpile there. So eventually they're going to fill up. So what I ended up having to do with any kind of junk or shit I didn't want, when you buy a gas canister, for instance, and you use it, you can't refill it. You just have to buy another one, which is insane. And then that used gas canister is just, it's there. So what my solution to that was, and this is not something I want to do, I don't like being a polluter, but what else can I do in the game? I would just start chucking all this shit into the ocean. It's just like, here, where's the body of water? Okay, I'm going to throw all this shit in the ocean. And there was one part, I think it was because it was maybe a story related objective. I kept throwing shit in the water and it would magically appear back in the island. Like, I guess I can't do that with this item because it's going to keep magically appearing back in front of me. But that annoyed the crap out of me. It just feels like there's so much in this game that's not completely thought out. Like what you do with junk. Can I put it somewhere? These paint cans, can I just sell them back? Can I throw them out? Can I do something with them? Can I discard them? If they're in my inventory, if I'm holding them, can I just say, I don't want this? No. You also will eventually get items over the course of your playthrough, different tools. You have your suction gun, your plunger gun for collecting fruit from trees and other locations that are hard to get. You can find these stars in the world that will give you money. When you go to a gas station to use the pump, I find it very annoying that the way to make to get the pump to work is that you first put in 15 coins by default, and then you can't, because they think you're gonna run off or something. You can't put the pump. I guess it kind of makes sense because why would you ever pay then? But I would rather fill my car with the gas that's needed, and then pay what is the cost of it. But instead, you put in 15 coins, you pump your gas, and then you get your change and you collect it. There's just something about that annoys me. I just like, can I just pump the gas first and then pay you? Can I do it that way so I don't have to do it with this change process? When you are trying to purchase items from the store, you go to the store, you put the shit on the counter, then you pay at the cash register, and then you have to go talk to the clerk, the store employee, and then you say, yes, I want to purchase this stuff. And like, okay, now you can. That's an extra step. And I'm like, why do I have to do this? Can I just, I put the money in the cash register. Let me click, yes, this is what I want, and get the hell out of here. The cutting of fruit and vegetables and all of that is fine. Using I hate that with, for instance, making bread, you put a bit of flour, or no, you put the flour into the bread making machine along with some water, and then you mix it. That's all fine and dandy. To get water, you have to fill a jug. You don't get a water specific jug. You use your blender jug. And when when you do that, you fill the blender with its water. You pour the water in there. It only uses half of the allotted that you can get in one pull of the water pump. And then that extra water, if you don't have more flour, is just kind of like sitting there. And you can't pour out the water anywhere. You can, the way I got rid of water that I had excess of, so just to rewind, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to already blank this game out of my memory. So I'm trying to think, what is everything that annoyed the crap out of me in this thing? But With the water, you get 2 portions worth when you do one pump. It takes 1 portion plus 1 portion of flour to create a thing of dough that you can then put in your oven and turn into bread. With that extra bit of water, you can just preemptively put it into the bread maker, the dough maker, the whatever, and let it sit there. It'll be fine. Or you can leave it in the blender. But I'm not sure. I didn't want to risk it, because if you do an order for someone, if someone wants a smoothie or a salad or a sandwich, if it's missing an ingredient or has a wrong ingredient, it's just a moot order. You're not going to get paid for it, but you'll lose those ingredients. With the blender, when it has water in it, you can't just pour it out. You can't just go out of your truck and pour it on the ground or anything. You can't. You can only pour it into its designated things, which is the fucking dough maker. So why can't I just pour the water out? It's fucking water. Just let me pour it out. All right. What's so difficult about that? I don't know. I'm trying to think about other crap. Like, it's just a mind-numbingly frustrating experience where the game gets in its way constantly and frustrated the hell out of me with its various things. I don't know. Yeah, that's Fruitbus. I want to like it because at its core, conceptually, it seems like it's a slam dunk. Going around taking on these orders for people. But in practice, it was very, very frustrating. Trying to organize my truck in a way that made the most sense and allow me to optimize the space was a pain in the butt. You can buy stools, not stools, you can buy steps that allow you to get a little higher so you can reach the higher spaces. But there's like, I don't understand the point of them, because you just have the narrow space. So you're walking, and I think it just doesn't make much viable sense to me. I'm sure there are fans of the game will say it's so easy to optimize your space. I found a good enough way, but it was still very ultimately frustrating. The game doesn't do a great job of explaining what certain things mean. So when you get to the island where you'll unlock the oven, and then you get to the island when you unlock the top of the pan so that you can stir fry stuff or cook things in the oven and so on. It doesn't it doesn't make it clear that this is what the icons behind these foods mean. That this means they want you to stir fry this, or this means they want you to cook it in the oven. You just have to kind of trial and error it or search online for the answers, because even if you look into the menu and go through the tutorial, or not the tutorial, but if you look in the menu at the tips and whatnot, there's nothing in there about any of that information. It's just an incredibly frustrating, disappointing game. And again, the performance is severely lacking. The trashing in particular bugged the crap out of me so much. I hated that. Yeah. I don't know. That's Fruitbus. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch because it's just I don't know. But that's Fruitbus, and that's going to do it for this episode of It's at the Backlog. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to the sausage dump where I talk about this, that, and whatever, as well as a private Discord channel and some fancy Discord roles, depending on your tier, of course. Or you can just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. That is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye. It's go time. Go daddy. It's go time.